We do have breaking news from Ukraine. Russia has launched drone and missile attacks on multiple cities across the country. This occurring overnight, causing rolling blackouts in several regions. At least one person was killed in the capital city of Kyiv, though Ukraine claims it did shoot down most of the incoming missiles. Keyword most. It may be Russia's response to the U.S. and allies promising to provide Western tanks to Ukraine's military after months of hesitation on that point. For more on all of it, let's go to Ed O'Keefe at the White House. Ed, good morning.
Tony, good morning to you. The U.S. and European allies are pledging advanced tanks and equipment to help pierce through that Russian offensive. The question at this point is how quickly can the tanks be delivered and how quickly can Ukrainian forces be trained to use them? Tank battles along the eastern front of the Ukrainian war are already part of the ongoing siege. And now American plans to supply some of the world's most powerful tanks have opened the door for European allies to also supply heavy arms.
These tanks are further evidence of our enduring, unflagging commitment to Ukraine.
The U.S. is sending 31 M1 Abrams tanks, enough for a Ukrainian tank battalion. They'll be joined by Germany, which is sending advanced Leopard 2 tanks. That allows Poland and other European countries to pledge similar equipment.
Armored vehicles are important. You know, you don't go after a crocodile with a cornstalk. And these vehicles, these tanks, those armored vehicles, they're going to have an effect.
CBS News national security analyst H.R. McMaster says the tanks will give Ukraine much-needed firepower against the Russians.
If the crew knows what it's doing, is well trained, does the prep to fire checks, maintains that tank well, I mean, you just can't miss. And everything you hit is catastrophically destroyed.
What the fuck? Dude, this is like, oh, Jesus Christ. They're so fucking, this is what the media is designed to do, man. This is what it's designed to do. You got H.R. McMaster, who's like a fucking high-ass ranking general. Like, this guy was in the White House, bro. He's like, yeah, these tanks, they're the greatest weapons. They're so awesome. I mean, I want to fuck one of them, honestly. Holy shit, they're so good. I'm so fucking hard right now. I am literally rock hard. Brother, you cannot comprehend how hard I am talking to you about how incredible these fucking weapons are. They're so goddamn good. And it's going to fucking obliterate the enemy, baby.
In Congress, where support for Ukraine remains.
Now tankies have something to understand, okay? Tankies, H.R. McMaster, the one of the perpetrators of American imperialism, coming over tanks.
Strong, many lawmakers wonder what took so long.
It's really an admission of their own mistakes, not providing these tanks months ago.
While others warn this is just the start.
The West's work is far from over.
In public Wednesday, Russian President Vladimir Putin made no mention of the tank announcement, but Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, celebrating his 45th birthday, did. Thanking every American family for the global leadership and calling to form a fist of tanks, a fist for freedom.
I don't know what this guy is saying, but I don't know if he's well. Monka W, 3 minutes till 2023 BU time. Head to the basement, Monka W. What is this? 2023 BU passed. You save now. Smile. What? It's an asteroid? Oh, it's a meteor? An asteroid? Some of you guys are nerdy in not all right ways, okay?
Part of why this is getting so much attention is that even 3 months ago, nobody anticipated that the U.S. or European allies would be sending tanks to the Ukrainian front lines. It's a reminder, Gail, that this conflict is just nowhere near over.
At least one person has died, 2 injured in Kyiv, Ukraine this morning after Russia launched more than 30 missiles at the capital. That is an air raid alert. It remains in place over the city. Moscow's latest attack has forced many residents to seek shelter in the underground metro system. Just look at that. I remember those images from the beginning of the war. The city's military spokesperson said around 20 of those missiles have been intercepted and destroyed, and these attacks come less than 24 hours after the United States and Germany announced they will send those battle tanks to Ukraine, a sign.
I love that. It's like, is the tank announcement proof that the U.S. ain't afraid of Putin? Like, you got to handle all angles, brother. You know what I mean? We got to fucking piss off everybody involved so that the media can keep cutting footage like this. Like, you can't do actual saber rattling without the propaganda arm, you know?
Potentially to Putin that the allies may not be concerned about provoking Russia.
The decision you saw today by both Germany and the United States was several weeks in the making through many discussions with the Germans and with our allies and partners.
Strategically waiting until Euros go to bed before going in with hot takes on Ukraine. None of my takes are hot. I believe that Ukrainians have a right to be free of Russian invasion. It's like super basic. I think that the Russian invading forces, especially Vladimir Putin, is out of his fucking mind, brutal, awful, and also altogether deeply unsuccessful. Okay? Like, they are irredeemable. Sure, I criticize Ukraine. I criticize like Ukrainian governance, whatever. All that stuff is completely cast aside when you consider how big of a fuck up Vladimir Putin is. Okay? As far as like our interest in the matter though, America is they're just so fucking hard. I mean, you saw H.R. McMaster. H.R. McMaster almost passed out on camera because of how fucking diamond hard his boner was. You crazy? Oh, so good. Thank you, Vladimir Putin. These motherfuckers, the State Department would suck Vladimir Putin's cock if they could. They're like, dude, you literally gave us an opportunity after we fucking left a $52 billion budget hole by pulling out of Afghanistan. You invaded Ukraine. Oh my God. Oh, I'm coming so hard. I can't even think. Like, immediately, all we had to do was like, literally, we didn't have to like cook the books. We didn't have to fucking even turn Excel spreadsheets off. All we had to do was change the recipient to Ukraine. Like, change a couple addresses and we're good. What a miracle. What a miracle this has been. HR McMasturbate. And why not? For the first time since Korea, the U.S. military-industrial complex can sell their weapons with a clear conscience. What? Clear conscience? You think, one, that they have a clear conscience? You're trolling, right? What? Bro, you think they're not selling to Saudi Arabia still? Like, what the fuck do you mean? Shut up. There is no conscience, okay? They just care about selling weapons. That's it. Wednesday. I mean, they don't have to pretend there's WMDs in Iraq type shenanigans. That doesn't make it any better. What the fuck do you mean? They don't give a shit. They never stopped funneling weapons into Afghanistan. They did it. We were still invading Afghanistan. Also, my man said Korean War was justified, which is, you know, maybe look into it a little bit further before you say stuff like that. He said since Korea. Yeah, it was super good when every city and village was destroyed in what in other circumstances would be considered genocide. by Allied forces in North Korea. It was so sick.
It's about coordination. It's about the unity here and the resolve that we all have together to help support Ukraine.
The Russian embassy in Berlin said this, quote, is extremely dangerous decision. It takes the conflict to a new level of confrontation. It contradicts the statements of German politicians about their unwillingness to have Germany be drawn into it. Fareed Zakaria, host of Fareed Zakaria GPS on CNN, is with me. It's great to have you. Thank you so much. So what do you think big picture here? Yes, it's a dramatic shift for Germany, but in terms of what it tells us about...
Are you in favor of sending tanks to Ukraine or against it? Dude, I don't care. I don't. I'm sorry. It sucks. I know. You want me to give you like a hot take or something. I don't care. There is nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing I can say or do that will make the situation right, okay? It's two fucking assholes fighting over fighting a proxy war over territory that is getting eviscerated, okay? That's it. I've told you what I want. I think in a truly just world, every fucking global leader that is like even tangentially involved in this, including from China to the United States of America, would get to the table and be like, you need to stop. This needs to stop immediately. It won't happen. Okay? Just like clip chimps that come in here don't give a fuck either. They just like the machine keeps churning, you know? They keep selling weapons. As long as the war continues, that's like considered just by a lot of liberals. They can go to sleep at night and still think that it's like adequate. Clip chimps will come in here and be like, Hasan loves sucking Vladimir Putin's cock. And it continues. It continues. Your only bad take. I know. My bad take is that I think that, peace should happen. I wish that peace could happen. That's a bad take. I know. It's really bad. Sorry, I should say the other thing. War should continue happening. And America should continue selling as many weapons as they possibly can that we also made with our tax dollars, that they're also buying with our loans that we gave them. Hopefully so that like we can replenish the supply of weapons that we have, again, with more tax dollars being spent on weapons. All so that, this war continues over. And as long as like Russia has enough manpower and enough weapons and enough fucking missiles to keep bombing the shit out of like territory that does not deserve that does not deserve any kind of military action and ruins people's lives. Is that better? Is that better for you? Do you like that? Yeah, I know you don't see an issue, you fucking idiot. Yeah, we know you don't see an issue.
Whether the West really fears Putin at all anymore.
Well, I think this is one of those cases where the official line actually is accurate, that it really is a...
War is bad, obviously, but the situation we are necessitates action to stop the Russians from enslaving 40 million people. Yes, that's what the Russians are trying to do. You're right. They want to do satanic rituals in Ukraine. That's what they want to do. Right. Yeah.
About the unity and resolve of the Western powers. It really is extraordinary if you think about it. If you compare this war with something like Iraq, on which half of Europe was in violent opposition to the United States' strategy, here you have basically the entire Western world plus a lot of non-Western countries that have banded together, and they're actually...
Biden asked Israel to send old anti-air missiles to Ukraine, and they said no. Yeah, Israel is like, fuck no. Every time, dude. Listen, there's a lot of Russian Jews in Israel, you know what I'm saying? A lot of Ukrainian Jews, but also a lot of Russian Jews. Israel's like, nope, we got a lot of Russian nationals that also have dual citizenship, you know what I'm saying? You with your anti-American hatred and no understanding of Eastern Europe or Russians at all. Brother, if you want to know my real fucking opinions of Eastern Europeans and Russians in general, you should, I can't even paywall it, okay? I don't care is all I'm saying. Do you understand? I don't care. I don't know why or when motherfuckers in the Eastern Bloc decided that, like, in the post-Soviet world, that they decided that, like, there's some unique component, okay? There's something unique there that, like, each individual citizen needs to be heard in, like, the same kind of, like, American liberal brain rot. You are not part of the team, little bro. If Russia actually fucking threw a nuclear bomb into the heart of Estonia and you think America would retaliate by also launching nukes, you are delusional, okay? Nobody cares. They care only as far as they can sell weapons. Do you understand? I'm sorry. You think these motherfuckers care about, like, Moldova? What are you, crazy? You think they care about Poland? What are you, nuts? You're delusional. Ukraine already made that mistake. They're like, oh, wait, what the fuck? Why is there no Article 5? Why aren't they protecting Ukrainian territory by sending troops? Go ahead, make that mistake. Anyway, don't worry. Moldova can defend itself. They have Moldovan Mama Liga. He will oh wait, he ran to America. Never mind. I was gonna say Moldovan Mama Liga will defend Moldova, but he's in America now, so I guess GG's. Their strongest warrior is now here with us in the United States of America. It's a bad argument if you instantly have to draw the nuclear bomb card. Wait, what? No, I'm using that so that you understand that, like, ultimately, remember when there was a time in American news when the State Department kept saying, if Russians use a nuke, it's going to be a mini one. It's going to be a mini nuke. It's going to be a tactical nuke. They might use it in Ukraine, but it's just a tactical nuke. And we have no interest in, like, changing our protocols. If a mini nuke, a baby nuke, a tactical nuke is used or deployed in Ukraine. Do you remember why they said that? Do you know why they said that? Because, like, the State Department doesn't accidentally reveal information like that. Everything they do is deliberate. The reason why they said that was to be like, fuck no, will we actually retaliate if they nuke Ukraine? Okay? That's it. That's literally it. They already said they would not counter with nuclear escalation if Russia nuked Ukraine. And the point is, like, they just don't, Americans don't care. Like, America doesn't care. They care enough as long as they can, like, sell weapons. So don't be delusional and think like, oh, silly American, you do not know anything about Russians or Eastern Europeans, and here you are talking with your anti-American sentiment. You do not know anti-American sentiment. You will feel it in your heart. I hope to God that you never have to. Okay? So shut the fuck up thinking that you're, like, protected by NATO or some shit. So cocky.
Ratcheting up as the Russians ratchet up because Putin has fundamentally decided he can't beat the Ukrainian army, so he's going to try to defeat the Ukrainian nation. Those air raid sirens you were talking about, this is indiscriminate bombing into a civilian.
It's funny because, like, we were just looking at a tweet about Israel being like, yeah, we're not giving you anti-defense missiles, even old ones that we're no longer using. And this motherfucker is still like, you don't understand, dog. You just don't get it. It's a very complex situation. It's not. It's just weapons manufacturing. That's it.
parts of the city. Kiev is not, I was there in September. It's not a military city. It doesn't have huge military bases. He is just killing civilians. And so in order to do something to break what is, what appears to be a somewhat congealed stalemate on the front lines, the Western countries are trying to ask themselves, how can they move forward? I think it's a really remarkable display of the fact that you have, with all the problems created by Putin's invasion, oil crisis, energy crisis, the West is united.
You just interviewed Volodymyr Zelensky in Davos, and I thought it was interesting that he just told Sky News in a new interview that he is not interested. That's a quote in meeting with Putin. And then he went on to say Putin is a nobody. This sort of reflects the sentiment you got from him as well.
Yeah, and I think he, in some ways, is reflecting the sentiment in Ukraine. I've noticed a very interesting change with Zelensky over the last year or two. At the start of the war, when I would ask him about whether or not there was room for negotiation, his answer was always yes. His answer was, look, there's a way around this. There are formulas we can come up with. We can describe the areas that Russia occupies as frozen. We will never accept their legitimacy, but we move on.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a desperate attempt to try and get back to the Minsk protocol, the Minsk agreements, while also allowing Vladimir Putin to go back to his country and be like, look at this big dub that I delivered to you. It's so wonderful. Meanwhile, on the other side, they're like, abso-fucking-lutely not. Especially because they took more territory than just the eastern territories, even though they are getting pushed out of it regularly. And Ukraine, understandably, is like, no shot. We're not doing that. Fuck you. Especially at this stage, because Vladimir Putin did invade and did kill a fuckload of people and continues to bomb western parts of Ukraine where, like, fucking Postmates drivers are living. You know what I mean? It's just like motherfuckers are just like living their lives and getting bombed every day. It's just ridiculous. It has only created an opposition to and only galvanized anti-Russian sentiment in literal fucking areas where there was actually less Russian resentment and more defense of Russia. And I mean eastern territories. It's just, you fucked it up. Fucking ruined it. But ultimately, it doesn't matter, because here from the United States of America, we can look from afar and sell weapons and continue to sell weapons, continue to test weapons, and it's great. Yeah, Western Ukraine already hated Russia. I know. I'm talking about Eastern Ukraine, like entire cities that the Russian forces have basically fucking wiped out.
And then came the brutality of the Russian offensive, the attacks on civilians, the war crimes, Bucha, all that.
Yes.
And I think it has turned the country, it has turned Ukraine. One thing it's done is it's really created a sense of Ukrainian nationalism far stronger than anything I'd seen. But it's also created an absolute determination that they are not going to surrender. They're going to see this through to the end.
It is just so fascinating, isn't it, to see the evolution of his leadership that so many questioned when he got elected, right? And look what he has become.
Look, the guy was a comic and a producer, and it turned out that, and we never know this about leaders, that when confronted with a crisis, he had the one thing that perhaps you need above all else in a great leader, which is courage. If he had not had the courage that first day to say, I don't need a ride, I need ammo.
Yes.
And if he had run, the whole history of this war would be completely different.
I loved your op-ed this weekend, sort of your takeaway from the World Economic Forum in Davos as it pertains to sort of what will lead the world. And it's not just the United States. You say there are encouraging signs that we are actually witnessing is a new kind of order built on unity and cooperation of the world's free nations. And that just got accelerated, did it not, with the U.S. and Germany coming together in this move this week?
I'm so glad you noticed that, because what does this latest tank business show us? The Germans were very concerned about not wanting to be out in front on this kind of thing. And by the way, we should all be very grateful that the Germans are concerned about not seeming too militaristic,
course,
right? There's a history that they are very conscious of and sensitive to. So they say to the Americans, if you want us to do this, you've got to be in lockstep with us. And so the Americans really largely simply to accede to that German request agree to send the Abrams tank. So it's a case of genuine cooperative democratic leadership. This is not Iraq. This is not the United States saying it's my way or the highway. You know, people are being forced along. It's really consensus building, which is what we have to hope is going to happen in the future, because the U.S. ain't going to bear the burden alone anymore.
It can't.
And it does seem like there's a kind of new democratic leadership coming about.
I was happy to read about your optimism after being with all of those leaders. Fareed, thank you very much. Of course, we'll be watching, as we always do on Sunday.
Yeah, we love watching it.